So what has been the focus now of the ministry and the different areas? Because you have really expanded the vision of what you're called to do there.
Right.
Give us an idea of the different things that you're doing.
Yeah. So our vision is actually summed up in our name.
Okay.
Empower International.
Okay.
And empower
Yeah.
is our vision. And it is to
Yeah.
empower
Yeah.
leaders in those nations to succeed in their mission to reach their people for God. So when we went over there, we saw so many young pastors from those nations that were really struggling.
Mhm.
They had no real network, they had no accountability, they had no resources to
Yeah.
do what God had put in their heart to do. And so God spoke to us and he said, I want you to empower existing leaders. We allowed God to highlight and lead us to the right people so that we could begin empowering them. I'll give you an example. In the nation of Burma, one of the poorest countries in the world, most Westerners, they don't even know where that is or what's happening there. It's been under such oppression for decades.
Yeah.
One of the things that God said to me was, I want you to empower them by providing them with debt-free land, homes, and buildings for their ministries.
Tremendous.
So many of them were struggling. They were living in these little bamboo huts that were suspended a few feet over water and mud. And they would have orphans in their home, and they would have their own family in their home. I remember pulling up to one of those homes, and Pastor Timothy is his name, and he was standing out in his front yard on a piece of bamboo, brushing his teeth outside. And I noticed on the tree that he was standing next to, there was a plastic cup that was nailed to the tree, and it had about 14 or 15 toothbrushes in it of all the orphans and his own family that would come out and stand on that bamboo to brush their teeth.
Wow.
And I can remember thinking, if I could only provide them a building for the orphans, if I could only provide them with a home for their family. And many of these guys are now my age. And to know that they don't have to worry about a mortgage or rent or anything. They can focus on the ministry that God's called them to reach their people. That to me is empowerment. My philosophy of empowerment in those nations also is, I'm not gonna go in there, I'm not gonna change Thailand myself as a Western, English-speaking American Christian. But what I can do is I can find those key leaders that God has called and anointed to reach their people, because they usually have been part of the religion, the false religion of that nation. They understand the culture of their nation, and they also speak the language, because learning these languages is very difficult. The Thai language is almost impossible, it seems. But if I can go in and empower them to succeed in their mission to reach their people with the gospel, the army of God has just increased and been empowered, and there's nothing that can stop that. So that was our strategy, our goal in reaching into the existing leaders, but then the up and coming leaders. This is really what I love to do. Is the next generation of leaders. The legacy that we can leave is by investing into those that are children, teens, young professionals, the younger generation. That's really my happy place. And so that's what we're doing so much now, is empowering the next generation of leaders to get that passion that I got when I was a teenager, and then to discover God's purpose for their life, find out what God's vision is for their future, and then pursue it with everything they've got. So that's what
So give me some examples of what you're doing with the children. That really has interested us. How are you doing that in perpetuating the gospel into the next generation? Give me some examples.
So one of the favorite things that we are doing right now is we are going into places like Pakistan. And there are minority communities, the Christian minority communities. Pakistan is an Islamic republic. So Christians are considered the minorities there. We discovered as we began going in there to plant churches in Pakistan that there were many of the Christian families and the Christian children that were not allowed to go to school. The options were not good. And so many of those children coming from poor families, the Christian children, they were being forced to work as slaves in brick factories. They were forced to work in the fields. They're forced to work in the factories. And when Julie and I saw that, we had never really had a vision specifically for children's education. But as we began to see that, God put that in our heart to build schools for the ethnic minority children in places like Pakistan. And so I think it's about 11 years ago now, we started our first school in Pakistan for these children. And we started with about 30 kids in a facility that most people wouldn't even put their animals in. We just took what we could find and we started. And that was about 11 years ago. Today, we have multiple schools. We have around 1,000 kids now in our schools in Pakistan. And we have debt-free land, debt-free buildings, and our students are performing academically at such a level that the government is now coming to us and saying, what are you doing? Because you're outperforming all the other private schools, the Muslim schools, the public schools. And our kids are being full ride scholarshiped into some of the best universities. In fact, these children, they learn the Bible every day in school. They pray every day in school. They worship God every day in school. In fact, when I'm there, sometimes they do these like Bible competitions. And I'm convinced that these children know the Bible better than some American pastors know the Bible because they study it. They have Bible classes every day. To me, education is a vital part of empowering a young person. But not just any education, but Bible-based, with Bible values, teaching them not only academics, but godly life.
So all of this, it's increasing too, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, it's increasing almost to an overwhelming level. In America, we can't legally go into the public schools and openly preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? Even though we're a Christian country. In Thailand, which is a Buddhist country, Empower International has opened doors into virtually every public school in the entire nation. And these are Buddhist public schools, but they love Empower. They love what we do. And so what we do when we go in and we do these school assembly programs in Thailand, we always have our Thai team because our Thai team, they used to be Buddhist. They came to know Jesus as their Lord and Savior. They're very strong Christians. And so they share their testimony of how God came in and changed their lives. And we have no resistance. The teachers, the principals, the superintendents, the students, they love to hear the stories of Christianity and the Bible and how God changed these Thai Buddhist people's lives. And then we share the simple, powerful gospel. And so many of the students say, that's what I want in my life. And so we're not restricted at all in these schools. Another thing that we do in Thailand that is another real bright spot for us. We have orphanages there. And one of our orphanages is in a rural area. In that area, the kids can only go to school through the 9th grade. And so if they don't have an option after the 9th grade, there's really nowhere they can go to fulfill the vision and the purpose for their lives. And so we have this thing we call Empower Youth, a Thailand Empower Youth program. And it's a transition program for the students that grow up in our orphanage. Once they finish the 9th grade, we move them to the city, to a dorm that God's blessed us with at our headquarters. And then we have a program for the next 3 years where they're able to finish high school. And then during that 3-year period, we're empowering them through discipleship. They're involved in all of our outreaches. They're involved in church. The students that are in that program right now, they're performing at the top of their class. The confidence, the boldness, their love for Jesus, they're the ones that when we do these outreaches, 17, 18-year-olds are now preaching the gospel in the schools in Thailand.
Well, you know, the partners of the ministry have supported you. Many of them don't know it. Because we support different ministries. And this is one of the reasons we have this program is to inform them of where their finances are going. And we've continued to be partners with you.
For over 20 years.
Over 20 years and excited about it. And I just want you to address the camera and just let the partners know, if you would, just your appreciation for them and what they've done for Empower, and the fact that they get credit for this, for what you guys are doing. So just talk to the king, talk to them.
Yeah, I just want to say to the partners of Kenneth Copeland Ministries, we are so thankful for you, because as they support us out there on the mission field in the 1040 window in the most unreached parts of the world, we would not be able to do what we do without your partnership. I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to just say thank you, face to face, looking you in the eye today, because we appreciate and are so thankful for what you've done in supporting us to reach the world for Jesus. People's lives are being changed. It's a matter of life and death. It's a matter of eternity in the hearts of the people that God has called us to reach. And so I just want to say thank you for supporting us. Thank you for helping us do this.
Thank you. You and Julie do an amazing work, and we are so glad to be able to support you and help you in what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Inside the Vision.
It's a pleasure.